always been fascinated by glyphs. I don't know why, and I would even look it up on the internet. I'd look up glyphs, and I'd get all kinds of stuff, and I thought, okay, healing glyphs, oh, and I'd get all kinds of stuff. And I just find them very interesting, and they were glyphs from supposedly some other civilizations, and I would think, I'd print them out, and I'd cut them out, and I'd think, it says use them in meditation. Well, how? When you meditate, you close your eyes. What do you do? You know, I never figured that out. Use this in meditation, and then you're supposed to look at it. I never did figure it out. And I would put them on my solar plexus, and I never really felt like there was anything. Maybe something was going on. I wasn't quite sure.
Excuse me, I don't know what a glyph is.
A glyph is, do you know what hieroglyphics are?
Yes. Oh, okay.
Hieroglyphics,
Okay.
little drawings.
Thank you.
A glyph is a drawing.
I've got it. I just didn't know. I
Okay.
didn't put the word together.
I'm sorry. I
I
should explain that right off. A glyph is some type of a little symbol that conveys a meaning.
Or energy.
Or energy. Correct. Or both. So one day I received an email from someone, and it had a little glyph. And the glyph was a picture, it was about that big, and it was a picture that looked like a centipede standing up with little eyeballs and a little wavy line around it. And it was done by a lady named Judith Moore. Judith Moore is very famed in the crop circles information. And she had on there, and I'm going to read what she wrote. Well, there's a little picture in here. You can't see it well enough but later on you can look at it in the book. And she said that it was a star glyph to remove parasitic DNA mutation that invites in entities and is an energetic link to fear programming. Is that somebody's cell phone?
Yeah, it's right there in the first.
No, that's not mine. Sorry. You might turn your cell phones off. An energetic link to fear programming. This glyph restores DNA. Please circulate widely and reproduce freely. Do not alter. Use with integrity. Okay, how? Alright. Humans were DNA altered by genetic engineering at the time of the fall of Atlantis and Babylon. A parasitic mutation attached to DNA making humans susceptible to entities. Anyway, I found that very fascinating. Use with integrity. How? Okay. So we printed it out, and I cut out the little glyph. I thought, okay. And I either was guided or thought, and I put it against my solar plexus. And immediately I felt a tremendous commotion going on in my liver. I mean, I would say pain like on a 2 or 3 on a 1 to 10 level. And I thought, what's going on here? What is this? And this went on for quite a while. And I thought, wow, this is really weird. So then I did some energy healing. The pain or sensation went away. The next day I tried it, nothing. My husband tried it, nothing. My son tried it, nothing. I thought, well, whatever it was, I had it. I think it's gone. But whoever created that glyph, I can do that. I can do that. Whatever entity created it. And so I asked my guides, how do you do that? And they said, well, you decide what do you want the glyph to say. And this is important, because you can do this. Any of you can do this. You can create your own glyphs to do anything you want. And they can be as powerful as you want them to be. You write down what you want the glyph to say, to do. What do you want it to do? Then you draw a little picture, which is your glyph. And then I was told you have an empowerment ceremony. Well, I'm an escapee from the Catholic Church, and I really had my fill of ceremonies, so I wasn't, and I hope I don't offend anybody there. But I don't go for ceremony very much. From the time I was a little kid in that church, I thought, I don't belong here. And so I thought, okay, what do you do? A candle, a prayer, okay. And so I created these little glyphs, And one would say energy, and one would say industriousness, and so forth. And I put these glyphs on my solar plexus. Nothing. Nothing. Okay. Well, in order to have, I had one for joy. In order to have joy, I have to get rid of what's holding me back from having joy. So I realized that I needed to work on glyphs that would get rid of what's holding us back. About this time, I received a call from a girlfriend, Kathy, who had, she had taken a glass bowl out of her dishwasher while it was still hot, and without thinking, poured cold water into it. And she said it was like it exploded, and a piece went deep into her foot, and this was sometime later, and it was badly infected. She said it was foul smelling, and I won't go into all the details. We probably all just ate dinners. Anyway, she didn't want to go and get antibiotics. She said, what should I do? And at first I thought, well, maybe the herb, maybe this, maybe that. And oh, I will write a glyph to kill bacteria. And so I said, Kathy, would you do a little experiment? And she said, sure, okay. So I drew a little picture of a little amoeba and a squiggly line around it, and I emailed it to her. And she sent me back an email the next day, and she says, I think my glyph's working. She said, I put it on top of the bandage. I made 2 glyphs. One, to kill the bacteria. Second was to speed up healing. She said she put on top of the bandage the one for the bacteria and the one for the healing. The next morning, she said the pain was gone, the redness was gone, the swelling was gone, and it was on its way to healing. And so, okay, there's my first success. I can do it. I can do this. I can do this. So I thought, well, now what do? I continued working on some from getting rid of fear, getting fear out of the body. That's one of the biggies that's holding us back. In the meantime, when Judith Moore had this glyph here, she had her email address, and I wrote her, and I did not hear anything for a long time. Then finally I heard back she'd been out of the country. And she does psychic readings, and she does this. I never met her. She does this over the phone. She sends you a tape, and I have to say, I'm one who runs to everyone who does a reading. I always want to know what's going on in my life, even like I don't know. And so she was one that gave me the best reading, the most fantastic reading that I've ever gotten. She gave both my husband and I one, and everything that she said unfolded as she said it was supposed to. But when she started out, she said, there's a language of light coming into the planet, and it's coming in on your glyphs. Oh? She said, you're from the Hall of the Masters, and you've been sent here to bring in the language of the Masters. Oh? I mean, I'm afraid of my own shadow. Why me? I mean, I've always been afraid of everything. I can't picture that I'm gonna ever get out here and introduce something, a language of light. And I didn't disbelieve her. Let's just say I just kind of put it in the file and let it all go at that. But as time went by and I continued to work with the glyphs, and I developed more glyphs, and I thought, okay, I've got this fear in me, and I've got, okay, what else have we got in here? We got some grief. What do we got? We got guilt. What do we do? We've got fear of abandonment, and I continued to make more and more glyphs for my own selfish reasons. I was concerned about myself. I wanted to get rid of what was holding me back. It never occurred to me that I would write a book. I have never been one of these people that says, I want to write a book, I want to write a book. I did not want to write a book. I didn't want to get out there and talk to people. My guide said, you need to go to Toastmasters. I didn't want to go to Toastmasters. They have ah counters there that count all your ahs. But I did.